In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers podcast.
What's up, everybody? It's the coolest cripple on Sesame Street. Once again, back for another edition of the Friday Free-for-All, the show for you fans, by you fans. Look, man, this is not my opportunity to come out and spit my hot takes. This is for you, the Panther fans. If you have a hot take that you want to spit about these Carolina Panthers, I just dropped the link to join in the chat box on YouTube. It's also in the description of the Facebook and YouTube video links. We have a fun show planned today, man. People have the bye week blues. You know, the Panthers aren't looking too good right now. We're going through a lot as a fandom, man. We've been through a roller coaster ride. But as always, man, I'm going to be joined by my Friday free-for-all faithful brethren in arms. First up, my man Nick Montero. Nick, what's going on with you, brother?
What's up, Cody? I've been a little MIA the last couple of weeks. Figured I'd stop in, hang out with you guys, and talk about the shit show that's on TV.
I love it, man. I love it. Happy to have you back. Once again, joining us, my man Kenneth, Panther Pickle. What's going on, bro?
Hey, man, what's up? Let's see if we can talk these Panthers into turning this mess around.
Right? Hey, man, maybe if we can do it, maybe we can put it out there into the universe and we can change something with the power of positivity. But listen, like always, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell for every single time the C3 Panthers podcast goes live. I know we're going to have more people joining in a minute, but we'll just go ahead and jump right into it, man. If ever you look at the thumbnail for the Friday free-for-all, you can always kind of get a hint of what we're going to be talking about today on the show. And listen, man, I've been really, I don't know what it is. I've been very opinionated lately, man. I've been feeling a certain type of way. And I think part of it is because, the Pro Bowl voting is going on right now. And if you're on Twitter, man, everyone and their mama is voting for their favorite Panther player to make the Pro Bowl. Even Panther players themselves are putting out their own hashtag to retweet and get them sent to the Pro Bowl.
And that's got nothing to do with their contract, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. And, a lot of these players are incentivized if they make the Pro Bowl. So that caused me to basically kind of share my opinion and share my feeling in the form of a dank meme. And I put it to you like this, man. Hassan Reddick is the only Panther player who deserves to go to a Pro Bowl. And listen, man, I think that might be a tough opinion for some people to swallow. I think there can be some opinions made back and forth about maybe Shaq Thompson, DJ Moore. But I want to hear from you all. And we're going to start with you, Nick. Am I wilding on this, bro? Am I out of my mind? Is there another Panther player who deserves to go to the Pro Bowl other than Hassan Reddick?
So I think there's one, in my opinion, that should definitely be on the ballot. And there's a second one that should at least be in contention. So, First off, Frankie Louvu.
Okay.
Let's face it, that dude has balled out this year. And supposedly he's only played like 23% of the defensive snaps. So he's making that kind of impact in 23% of the snaps. That's pretty impressive. I'd like to double check that, but the stat that I saw today was 23%. The other guy who I feel like should at least be talked about in it is Zayn Gonzalez. Let's think of the controversy that we had coming into the season with the kicker situation, and then on top of that, his history in the past not being consistent when kicking, and now he's been lights out. He's only missed a couple, and he's been the NFC special teams player of the week twice now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, dude, in Zayn and the Membrane, Frankie Louvu. I mean, listen, those guys have been two of our more consistent, are two of our more consistent players. I don't think anyone can deny that. My question is it Pro Bowl worthy? I mean,
Yeah.
Frankie Louvu came out of nowhere. No one knew his name before the start of the season. And Frankie Louvu has been balling out, man. Like, all of us love the way Frankie Louvu is playing. I certainly hope he continues to be an important piece of the Panthers defense going forward. And then Zayn, yeah, he's been clutch. But again, he's a recent addition to the roster comparatively. You know, you have to compare him to other field goal kickers in the NFL too. We're talking Pro Bowl. I mean,
True.
best in your position group in the NFL. Who else other than Hassan Reddick can lay a claim to that? In my opinion, I really don't think. How about this? I think Hassan Reddick this year and last year has proven himself to be amongst the very best pass rushers in the NFL, bar none.
Yeah, I don't disagree with
Yeah.
that. I'll completely agree with that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
one thing
Kenneth, what you think, man?
Yeah, the one thing about Frankie Louvu, and I love the guy. He's 25. He come out of nowhere. He makes plays not only in when he's on the field, in the regular defense, but on special teams.
Yeah.
And let's just be honest. He's a free agent this end of this year, and I'm sure we're not the only ones noticing this.
Oh God, no.
I'm sure there are other coaches out there thinking, well, he's 25. He looks pretty good in that limited role they got him in. You know, then you turn around and elect him into the Pro Bowl. Oh yeah, it's going to make it hard to re-sign some of these folks. But if they deserve it, they ought to get in there. But so far, Reddick seems to be the guy I would vote for before anybody else. I do like him, but also for as much as we love Thomas Davis, folks need to realize he went to one Pro Bowl in his entire career, and that was toward the end of his career.
Yeah.
So, truthfully, they need to change it from linebackers. They need to eliminate the inside and the outside linebacker, call them linebackers, and just call the edge rushers the edge rushers.
Yeah.
That would be a simpler categories of the Pro Bowl because too many regular linebackers are missing out on that over that reason.
Yeah, very true. I think if you're an outside linebacker and you're not in a 3-4 defense rushing the passer, it's really hard to kind of get that name recognition, that name evaluation. And we have another friend joining the Friday free-for-all, and I know he's legit because he has a Put It in the Bank t-shirt. Let's welcome Dexter to the Friday free-for-all. Dexter, how are you, brother?
What's going on, boys? Good to be back. It's been a rough week, hasn't it, with that result on Sunday, so it's been a bit of a depressing week, so I needed to come and talk some shit with you boys. And
yeah, man. Hey, man, that's what the C3 podcast is all about. It's your therapy session for when the Panthers aren't treating you correctly. Exactly. Hey, man, I can't help but notice the accent. Where you're coming to us from?
Manchester in England.
Nice, nice.
Again. Yeah. It's you boys are like the brotherhood now. You're the only ones I get to talk to about the Panthers, so.
I love it, man. I love it. So yeah, man, Dexter, let me get your opinion on this, man. I put this up on Twitter earlier. I said Hassan Reddick, and by the way, I realized, of course, in retrospect, I spelled Hassan's name wrong. I put an A instead of an O. Dude, I'm a moron. I can't help it. But listen, yeah. So Dexter, my question to you: is there any Panther player right now, other than Hassan Reddick, and I'd be interested to hear your opinion on Hassan, but is there any other player on the roster that you think deserves to make the Pro Bowl?
I don't think so. I mean, I do think there's an argument for Zayn. He's not let us down really this season, even though he was brought in late. I do think there is a possible argument for Shaq, but then again, I do think there's better linebackers. So probably not. No, I think I'm with you, Cody. And I think Hassan Reddick's just the only one, really. I don't listening every Tuesday to the podcasts, and every week there's always been something bad to say about everyone else on the team. apart from maybe this week with Hassan, but he didn't have his best game. But everyone else is, Brian Burns. I don't think he's showed up to every game like he should be doing.
No.
Obviously, no one on the offense deserves any even consideration. Luvu maybe, but again, I don't think it's Pro Bowl worthy yet. Just Hassan Reddick really is the one that it definitely deserves to be there.
Yeah, and it's disappointing, man. Because if you would have asked me at the start of this year, I thought for sure DJ Moore would be a player that would be amongst that list. But then, of course, our quarterback play has been absolutely terrible, and those two are just inexorably linked to one another. Those positions, quarterback and receiver. And then, you mentioned Brian Burns, man. And listen, I feel like so many Panther players and fans rather felt like Brian Burns was a superstar waiting to happen. Like that was our very own version of Von Miller waiting to pop. And I mean, listen, I'm not saying that we have the best defensive line pieces around him, but I think his ability to take over a football game has to be called in question, man. A lot of his sacks were unblocked, direct line to the quarterback. And then some of those plays that are just near misses where he's almost in on the sack and then isn't able to wrap up. It's frustrating, man. And I frankly wish that Brian Burns was a little further ahead than he currently is. And I feel like a lot of Panther fans probably feel that way.
Yep.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I'm right there with you.
I remember at the start of it was like in week 2 or 3, Cody, you said on the Tuesday podcast that you'd like to see this defense, or you'd definitely put money on this defense against any team in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I agreed with you at the time, and looking back now, you could just laugh at that, really, couldn't you?
Dude, it's
so disappointing.
It's the worst thing about the Carolina Panthers is that they make you believe that there's something special, that you have a reason to believe in this football team. The defense is good. We're fast. We're physical. Everyone's playing incredibly well. Their best football. Dante Jackson earlier was playing incredible. Shaq Thompson was playing lights out. I mean, look, Shaq Thompson, and we're going to talk about him later in the show. Shaq Thompson's playing his best year of football. I mean, no one can deny that. He's easily one of the best players on our defense right now. I just think that when you look at how much talent we have and how the Panthers have performed, even in spite of all that talent, it's really unacceptable, man. It's truly, truly unacceptable.
No, you're right. Sure, it's embarrassing. It's I got my girlfriend into the Panthers, and she's actually a pretty decent fan now. And
cool.
But every week, it's like I thought the defense, because at the start of the season our defense was on fire, and now it's like she's like I thought the defense was meant to be good, and it's embarrassing. Keep having to backtrack on what we say all the time, and I
know, man.
Just when we thought when we played Washington, we thought we played, we got the offense sorted, and then the defense had that terrible game. It's like a roundabout all the time.
Yeah, I mean, to lose that embarrassing to teams that we're supposed to beat, it's unacceptable. And most people didn't envision a scenario where we would be talking about Matt Rule potentially being on the hot seat at the end of his second year. We thought it was a bygone conclusion. Yeah, he's going to get his third year. Granted, I still don't necessarily think enough has happened yet to fire Matt Rule. But the fact that we're even entertaining that, man, that's how we've had some really, really bad losses. Hey, real quick, let's add Justin, my man Justin, here to the Friday free-for-all. Justin, what's up, brother?
What's good?
Chilling, man. Chilling, doing another Friday free-for-all, man. Dude, people have been going at me on Twitter, yo. Y'all need to follow my Twitter account, man. People are trying to clown your boy. And yeah, man, I say some dumb shit from time to time, but I own my dumb shit. I'm not running from nothing I say, bro. But
that Hershey woman coming after you, Cody.
Oh yeah, man, that's my fan account. That's my number one fan account, man. All they do is tweet about me, man. But yeah, Justin, I wanted to get your opinion on this, man. I'm a firm believer Hassan Reddick is the only Carolina Panther who is deserving to go to a Pro Bowl this year. Do you think that there's someone else that I'm not giving enough credit or attention to, or am I right on the money with this?
Man, I mean, for the most part, it's all been said. Hassan, I feel like he's a lot. You can make an argument for Burns, Louvu, and Shaq, but I feel like Hassan's the only one that is a lot. I think we would have been able to throw DJ in there if like DJ and Robbie have way too many damn drops, man. Like DJ putting up numbers, but his for as good as his numbers look, they could be so much better if he had like half as many drops as he does.
And if he actually blocked when he was supposed to. I mean, let's face it, he's definitely played soft this year as compared to how I feel like he normally plays.
Yeah, man. I was watching the game last night, and I don't know if y'all were looking at it, but there was a catch that CD Lamb made. It was incomplete. Like he's outside, way out of bounds. But it was like a one-handed falling back catch. Like had he gotten both feet in, that would have been the catch of the year.
Yeah,
and
I saw that
watching
one.
this shit, and I'm like, I think they hit Michael on the first touchdown pass. Michael Gallup went up, high pointed it, got both feet down. And I'm like, bro, why don't we have why can't our receivers do this shit? Like this stuff, they make this shit look routine. And then our dudes, for all the talent they have, it's bad, man.
It's definitely frustrating, man. It's definitely frustrating when when you feel like you have something, in DJ Moore. And listen, I'm guilty of this charge, man. I'm on record as saying I think DJ Moore had that DeAndre Hopkins syndrome, and that he was always able to put up a large amount of yards, even in spite of the subpar quarterbacks he had throwing the football to him. And that take's not looking so good for your boy right now. But yeah, CeeDee Lamb is a different kind of football player. I think seeing a player like him has us question, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, and do we have a real legitimate number one wide receiver? Let me join in my Friday free-for-all compatriot Drew to the Friday free-for-all. What's up with you, brother?
What's going on, fellas? How you doing tonight?
Dude, happy to have you back, man. Happy to have you back. Yeah, man, I wanted to get you in on this, man. Is there any other Panther player who deserves to go to the Pro Bowl other than Hassan Reddick, man? Right now, it looks like people are mostly agreeing with me.
Hassan Reddick is an absolute yes. If anybody else, I would have to go Shaq Thompson.
Okay.
And that's just because if you look across the NFC, what Shaq Thompson means to this defense compared to the rest of the linebackers across the NFC, I would say yes, Shaq deserves to go.
Okay. So basically just what Shaq has done this year and compared to his competition in the NFC, that he deserves a Pro Bowl nod.
Yes.
Okay. And look, that's kind of a good segue to a different discussion. And okay, so I've been saying that Shaq Thompson doesn't deserve a Pro Bowl nod. And people are going to think that I'm, shitting on Shaq Thompson. That's not what I mean to do. Shaq is a great football player, and he's playing his best football this year. I'm not trying to take that away from him. But what I'm thinking is it enough to warrant a Pro Bowl vote when really this is his only year doing it? And how do you think he matches up with some of the other linebackers in the NFL? So, for example, I just looked up tackles in the NFL just to see who was leading the NFL right now. And, dude, Bobby Wagner is like an ageless wonder, man. That guy is just insane. But it really had me thinking, and I want to get everyone's opinion on this. Is Shaq Thompson a top linebacker in the NFL? And I want you to kind of make your case for why that is, or why that, tell me why I'm either too low on Shaq Reddick or on Shaq Thompson, or if I'm not giving him enough credit. Tell me what you think, and we'll go to Dexter, man. Am I too hard on Shaq Thompson?
So how many games has he missed? I forget.
Shaq Thompson, I believe 3 games, 2 or 3 games this year.
See what he has done in his games. Then he is up there, but it does say somewhere on there, doesn't it?
Shaq Thompson is on this list.
Quite a ways down.
Shaq Thompson is number 47 on this list with currently
9.
Let me see here.
9 games played.
Yeah, not 9. Yeah, 9 games played.
Which is the amount that he played. I mean, he missed 3 games, didn't he? Or was it?
Yeah.
Was it more than that?
You've got to ask the question as well. Is Shaq Thompson really good, or is this defense just really bad? Is he just is he looking good because our defense is so bad, and he's the only one, or only one in a few that's doing something?
Yeah.
I think it's our defense as a whole making him look better than he is. I don't think he gets the nod just because of the time that he missed. I get it that it happens, but he's not a good enough player to overcompensate for the time that he missed, in my opinion, for the Pro Bowl nod. Anyways, as far as his contract's good for another few years, so we don't have to worry about that one. But I just don't think he's deserving of the Pro Bowl.
I think I'm with you on that. I think he's a good player, but I just don't think he's Pro Bowl.
Yeah, and again, I'm certainly not using it to demean him. I mean, I think he's played his best football. Like Kenneth even mentioned it earlier with the Thomas Davis comparison. But listen, I want to add some voices to this conversation. This next guy is an all-time fan of the C3 podcast. You know him, you love him. It's the man Nova Black. Nova, what's up, brother?
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing?
Dude, doing good, man. Happy to have you in here, bro. You know we love listening to Nova. And man, we got one more person we're gonna add to the show. South Carolina based SC. What's up, bro?
What's going on, fellas? How y'all weekend going so far?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Happy to be chilling with y'all, talking about the Carolina Panthers, man. This is a bye week, not too much going on. So I wanted to get the pulse of Panther Nation, man. So real quick, let me shoot it to my man Nova Black. Nova, I was saying earlier, Hassan Reddick is the only Panther that is truly deserving to go to the Pro Bowl on this squad. Do you think I'm being maybe not giving Shaq Thompson enough credit? Maybe Brian Burns. What do you think, man? Am I off base on this?
Well, just a little, Cody. Don't get me wrong. Now Hassan Reddick, in my opinion, he's the only guy on this team that's deadlocked on winning on every down. It seems like guys on this team, for some odd reason, want to take downs off. I think Dante Jackson, his potential supersedes what he's doing on the field. I think he's become too dependent on guys like Brian Burns and Hassan Reddick. Now, Brian Burns, he adds pressure. He hasn't been getting there consistently, but he's consistently being disruptive. So I think he should get a Pro Bowl vote, if not definitely not the last vote. But when it comes to Shaq, now,
yeah, man, talk to him.
Shaq Thompson, man, you're doing Shaq wrong.
Okay, tell me, man.
And I'm gonna tell you why, and I'm gonna try to keep this wrapped up real short. Shaq Thompson has played behind Luke and TD for the bulk of his career. He's really just getting his own feet up under him, getting the snaps in the film room with Luke. Now that he's out there and he's the head of a new defense, he's learning this defense. He knows this defense. He's able to play and put all of those things together that he learned from Luke and TD now. So the fact that everybody else is taking downs off besides Hassan Reddick, I don't think Shaq is taking downs off, bro. Shaq got beat.
Yeah, and look, he's a workhorse, man. And I think that you can even make the argument that, he's like the pulse of our defense, man. Like if Shaq Thompson is on the field, our defense has the potential to play its best football that you could possibly see this defense make. My only thing with the Pro Bowl is that normally when you think of a Pro Bowl, you're thinking about the very best at their position in the NFL. Right. I seem to remember a time when Shaq Thompson got extended in Carolina, and all of us were kind of questioning whether or not that was the right thing to do. Break off Shaq Thompson some more money. He wasn't the Mike linebacker inside the defense, so it's not like, up until Luke left, he hadn't been receiving the plays in his helmet. And really, this year is the year that he's come on the most. So I think when you look at how recent his success has been, and when you look at some of the defensive performances that we've had, it just kind of makes me hesitant to say that he's in that kind of Pro Bowl kind of conversation. SC Bates, don't want to get you in on this, brother. What you thinking, man?
I mean, kind of to stay on the Shaq topic, I think Shaq was having a pretty awesome year. I think a lot of the bad performances by the defense kind of overshadows the things that he was able to do. If you go back to that Cardinals game, he was playing lights out. Atlanta game, did he play in the Atlanta game? I can't remember.
Yep, he got an interception.
Yeah, he was playing lights out. So, I mean, he's not going to get a lot of national attention because we're not winning, and that's a major component of the Pro Bowl is being on a winning roster and being a popular name. So, unfortunately, I think that may hurt Shaq in the long run. And as far as anybody else, I would just say Hassan Reddick. I mean, that said, he has 10.5 sacks. I think he's scheduled to probably have about 14 or 15. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we've had that much since we've had Kraken, right?
Man. I think Hardy was the last one to get up to a number that high, man. Dude, how about this? I think Hassan Reddick is one of the premier pass rushers in the NFL. I mean, like with what that guy has done last year, and then now this year too, man. Like we were all expecting Brian Burns to have the kind of numbers that Hassan Reddick is putting up right now. But I mean, dude, Hassan's balling, man. And that's why I feel like you have to put him in the Pro Bowl discussion. Because even if he wasn't on the Carolina Panthers, those kind of numbers alone, and with now 2 years in a row, dude, that's premier elite level numbers, man. And I just don't know if there's anyone on our team that can lay claim to that. Even McCaffrey has been hurt 2 years in a row now, man. It's like there really isn't anyone else on this football team, I feel like, that you can for sure say that they are top 5 in their position groups in the NFL.
I mean, you could argue maybe Zayn Gonzalez, maybe. I mean, I haven't looked at how he stacks up with everybody else, but his percentages are pretty good. I mean, I don't think he's missed many field goals.
Yeah, bro, is that sad or is that sad? We're talking about the field goal kicker, bro. One of the newest additions to our team. But hey, man,
it's been that type of year. Yeah.
And Zayn in the membrane, bro. Bro, that's rough, man. That's rough.
I haven't voted on the Pro Bowl. Do they have Shaq listed as an outside linebacker or an inside linebacker?
I think they're gonna listen outside.
Outside. That's why Thomas Davis never made the Pro Bowl for so long. He was competing against outside linebacker rushers, and without sacks, it's a disservice to linebackers to be called outside and inside linebackers, and the outside linebackers have to compete against edge rushers.
True.
It's just a disservice in the Pro Bowl image.
Yeah, but you're not rushing the passer.
Who watches the Pro Bowl anyway these days?
No.
I used to, but I quit several years ago. Way back in the day when when they lined up, and I was watching it, and all of a sudden it was like pass, and they was like in practice. I said, "Oh no, I'm not watching this." I
stopped watching the Pro Bowl when they left Cam out there to get beaten like a pinata.
Yeah, dude, I remember that. Dude? Some memories you just suppress, and you don't think about, man. But really, even the players don't take it seriously, man. Like players, what they do from a contract perspective. I mean, you hit a bunch of different incentives if you become a Pro Bowl player. Yeah, it's definitely good for the pocketbook.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but
oh,
go ahead.
No,
correct me if I'm wrong, but the Pro Bowl back in the day, about 10 years ago, used to be after the Super Bowl, right? A week after.
Yeah. It was after the Super Bowl.
I think that's what hurt it a lot too. I think that took a lot of viewership away from the Pro Bowl as well.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't even think they air it over here. You know, I don't even think they show it.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, man. Nobody really watches it. I mean, it's unwatchable most of the majority of the time. The guys don't want to play the game. They go because they get a free trip to wherever it is. But other than that, they don't care. They don't want to be there.
Yeah. And then also, remember, it used to be in Hawaii.
Right.
But it ain't in Hawaii no more. So you might go somewhere, and now it's all cold and wet and raining. Like, it used to be an excuse for players to go with their family, go to Hawaii. Everyone's there. You're amongst the best players in the NFL. Like, it was a legitimate badge of honor. But now it's a joke, man. I'm surprised they still do it. I think they need to lean in more on the competitions, like the quarterback competitions, the long throw, like all the hands catching things that they do. Those are fun. The game itself is kind of whatever.
I think that's what makes the NBA's game so good, because you have the whole All-Star weekend. You have the different skills challenge, slam dunk contest, and 3-point contest. So that stuff is actually more entertaining than the actual game.
Yeah, man, it was fun.
I was telling Cody earlier, I remember back in the day when they used to have quarterback challenges, and all the quarterbacks in the Pro Bowl would get together and it'd see who would throw the ball good. And there was a couple of times watching it, Jake Delhomme actually won it once just because of the way of the drill was set up. Once they had a tire hanging from a crane, they would swing that tire. It's quarterback's job to get that ball inside that tire without touching the outsides of the tire. And the moving trash cans was cool. It's unbelievable how many quarterbacks can't throw in the trash can in a long way.
I remember seeing Jake Delhomme. Yeah, Jake Delhomme was in a few of those.
Yeah,
they were fun, man. They had some cool ones back in the day, man. I hope they figure out how to make that thing fun again.
They did the bench press with the linemen, because I remember Larry Allen. Holy crap!
Yeah, from the Cowboys, right?
He was a beast.
Yeah, man. I remember that. I saw a clip of that not too long ago. That's like an all-time moment right there. But, man, look, let's get into these Carolina Panthers, man. I'm going to ask each and every one of you to kind of give me a diagnostic report. What do you think the Panthers need to do at this point in the season, if there's anything that can be done to kind of change our trajectories, man? Look, the Saints lost last night to the Cowboys. The Falcons are the Falcons. And, I mean, there's a lot of turnaround in the NFC this year. As crazy as it might sound, the Panthers are not out of the wild card hunt. So, bro, what do the Panthers need to do from this point going forward, if anything? We'll start with Nick. Nick, what you thinking, man?
Well, I mean, my question is, are we trying to fix everything and get into the playoffs, or are we trying to tank for next year? And if we are trying to get into the playoffs, is it even worth it, given the fact as to how much it's going to hurt us in the long run?
Yeah, I mean, you probably have to think that if we're tanking, we should have done it before the trade deadline, because we probably should have been trading some players. So I would imagine that they probably would try and win as much football games as possible. But how would they do it, though?
Well, I mean, first things first, we gotta get the O-line situated. We've been saying this all season. We've been saying this for forever. I'm getting tired of saying it. But we gotta get the O-line taken care of. You know, we should go back to the same setup that we had whenever we played. I think it was either the Cardinals or the football team where we had the best O-line combination that we had all season long. I think it was against Washington. Now, granted, Washington doesn't have much for a pass rush, but when you look at the stats don't lie. I mean, yeah, you're going to see more when you watch the film, and you're going to see things that the stats won't show you. But I'm sorry, I remember all of us saying that day the O-line looked the best that it did all season. So that's where we need to start, and then we got to get the defense figured out as far as how to stop the run, which I don't know what we need to do for that. I mean, something's got to happen, but Derek Brown has to be in there.
I know we got to play Phil Hoskins more than we have.
Yeah.
That,
But
that
Nick, do
dude
you
was-
really want to throw Trent Scott back out there again?
No,
Snacks.
Dante
No.
Jack, not Dante Brown.
0.0 PPF.
Dante Brown was actually came off injured reserve the other day.
He did.
He's actually he's actually on the 53-man roster now.
Yeah,
Well,
he
when
used
they
to be
put-
a guard and Brady
put-
Christian at left tackle.
That's
Hey,
what
Uh,
I
That's
think
right.
I think we got Brad Durer with us. Brad, you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
What's
up,
going
Brad?
on, bro?
How's it going? I just look like shit right now, so That's why
You're
my camera's
fine,
off.
dude. Yeah, you're handsome to me, dude.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Hey, come here, and I'll pet everyone's ego and make them feel good about themselves, man. But yeah, dude. Yeah, just jump in on this conversation, man. We're kind of talking about what we need to do going forward. But I know I saw you put in the chat room earlier. You had some hot takes and opinions, and this is the free for all, man. So this show is for y'all. What you got on your mind? What you want to get off your chest, bro?
So yeah. So what can we do to fix the team in the current season? Nothing. I mean, we need to start playing our rookies to see what we have going into next season. We need to start planning for next season, right?
Yeah.
And and then my hot take was this: some combination of the following 4 players will not be on this team next year. And I know Reddick is an obvious one, but Hassan Reddick, Brian Burns, DJ Moore, and Derek Brown
Woo.
You said
telling-
will or won't be on this team.
will not be on this team next year.
Ouch. That's a lot that we're giving up, man.
So
Well-
what makes you say not on this team?
We have no draft assets next year. We have 5 picks in the first at all, right? So we've got to recoup those picks, and that the idea of trading down becomes a whole lot less appetizing the more we lose. And if you look at the schedule, there's not a whole lot of winnable games on the schedule right now. I mean, we've got Atlanta, but that's kind of it. I mean, the Bucks, we're probably going to get swept by the Bucks. We might beat the Saints, and the Bills are going to be in the hunt for playoff seeding, so they're not going to come out. That's not going to be an easy out. And this defense doesn't look like it could stop a sieve right now, to be honest with you. Like, we have and for as good as this defense has been all season, we have one of the worst red zone percentages in the entire NFL. They score on 75%. All teams score on 75% of their trips to the red zone with us. That's a harsh reality.
Yeah, that's
So,
super harsh reality.
so how are we going to recoup those picks, right? Well, you're going to have to trade some assets. I mean, or you're going to have to trade back. And like I said, trading back is not something that's super attractive. If we're picking a number 4 overall, I don't know that I want to trade back there. I think I want to try and pick up additional first-round picks or second and third-round picks by trading assets who may not be in our long-term future. And
if you remember the Panthers Confidential that released, I don't know how many of you follow the Panthers YouTube page, but they put out these Panther Confidentials, and it had been said before, and I believe Scott Fitter has even said this in his press conferences, that when you're picking from 16 down, he doesn't view that much difference between late first round picks and early second round picks. But you have to imagine if the Panthers are going to lose some games going forward, hey man, the Panthers might have a top 10 pick again this year. So
right now they're currently the
Number
number
8.
2 pick. They hold the number 2 pick.
So if there's a real scenario, and it's not going to happen, but because of how tiebreakers work and strength of schedule, if Detroit ended up winning 5 games, if everybody had a 5-12 record, Carolina would pick number 1 overall because we have the hardest schedule in the NFL. One of the hardest.
That's great news, at least.
So
right.
So
there's no quarterbacks. There's no quarterbacks this year, so
well,
it's not even going to be a good thing.
Yeah, the desire that these other teams had to trade up, there's nobody there with that that's going to draw them in.
So well, pass rushers, right? This is a decent class for pass rushers from what I've been told, but that's about it. And that kind of lends back to my statement. Like, I could see a scenario where, Brian Burns has played very inconsistently all season. There's a 3-game stretch where he had 5 pressures, 1 quarterback hit, and no sacks, and that's not great, right? Not from a defensive end perspective.
Right.
That's you're non-existent, and I understand he was probably getting double teamed a large portion of that, but still, you're not like our pass rush was non-existent for 3 games. So. And he's going into year 3, which means he could have a contract extension. And there is a history of defensive ends or defensive players who get to that point in their rookie contract where they demand their second contract earlier, right?
Yeah. Do we think that Brian Burns is in the position to do that?
You better hope you don't.
Hey, look, how long has Hassan Reddick been in the league? 4 years?
4 years. No.
No, this is year 5.
I'll look it up.
All right, it usually takes a defensive end.
We took Brian Burns in the beginning of 2019. We still have him for some time.
We still have the 4th year, and we have his 5th-year option.
Right.
Yes.
So give him to his 4th year. Give him to his 4th year. It usually takes him about that long to develop,
And you know what?
That easy to play.
Well, let's face it. If he wants to play hardball, fine. Sit on the bench. At the end of the day, you're only hurting yourself.
No, he's playing to stand up.
But Hassan Reddick was drafted in 2017 by the Cardinals, and to that point, he also they were kind of playing him all around out of position. A lot of people thought Hassan Reddick last year might have been a 1-year wonder, but now this year with the Panthers, he's proven that wrong because he's balling out of control personally.
Yeah,
but so do you think that even someone like Derek Brown would be in that list of potential trade players? Because my thing, Brad, is if the organization is willing to do away with that many players, aren't they kind of admitting to another rebuild?
Well, and I think that's what they need to do because, we talk about, a bunch of people have been saying, oh, we're a quarterback and an offensive line away. That's a lot of holes, whether you like it or not. And that's not addressing the gaping hole we have at free safety or the gaping hole that we have at linebacker. We have no linebacker depth whatsoever. Right.
No.
And this is Jermaine Carter's last season too.
Yeah.
So people seem to forget that. I mean, you look at that list of free agents next year. It's almost all defensive players. So people don't realize that. I mean, we had basically 1 year to get this right, and without having to go back to the drawing board, and to kind of add a little more doom and gloom to the whole conversation. We only have 29 million cap space right now. We have projected about 5 million in rollover, so we'll have about 34 million or so, and we can restructure some contracts and do some cap moving and all that jazz. But realistically, I mean, without cutting players, we're only looking at about $40 to $50 million. And if you intend to sign Hassan Reddick, that's going to be at least 22 million of that.
Yeah, and we have to consider too. We haven't figured out the quarterback position, and that's actually an interesting question that I want people to answer too. What do we do at the quarterback position going forward? Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I know people might hate me for this, but I understand that Russell Wilson may be a free agent next year, as well as Aaron Rodgers potentially.
No, thank you.
I wouldn't be surprised if Tepper made a play at them. I wouldn't be surprised. That's all I'm saying.
They're not going to be free agents. They'll be on the trade block.
Yeah, and I understand Tepper may want it, but Tepper's going to get a lot of what Deshaun Watson gave him. What what Matthew Stafford gave him? No, because nobody wants to come to a team that's in rebuilding. The offensive lines are pathetic.
Yeah.
Their receivers dropping more ball, lead the league in drops,
Yeah.
and their star running backs hurt a lot. So I know it sounds bad to think you're a Panther fan, but that's just the truth of it. That's the reason why Matthew Stafford didn't want to come here.
And
Aaron
everybody
Rodgers, Russell Wilson, they're not. If they want to switch teams, they're not going to want to switch teams just for the hell of it. They
And
want to
then
win a
also-
Super Bowl, and they're not going to do that in here for a good long time. So
Well,
And so Brad
You
Pitt-
got motherfucking Matt Rule.
The biggest question is with all these free agents. I mean, even the guys that are on our team, it's a matter of whether or not they're going to want to come back with Rule. So like these next 5 games are incredibly crucial because for me, that Cody asked the question of diagnostic. Looking at everything, taking it all in, being that this is a bye week, the one thing that stands out to me is this coaching staff seems to be in over his head. I think a lot of us have said that Phil Snow was the best coach of the 3, and even then, at times it seemed that these last 2 weeks, the past 2 games were the worst performances by the defense. Not to mention other moments earlier in the season where the defense, like there's clearly room for improvement. But the strength of this team has been and will remain on the defensive side of the ball.
One moment, Justin. I wouldn't put all that on the play call on my brother. Them boy got to get out there and perform too. But continue.
Yeah. So like you go back and you look at the Cardinals game. I forget what the final score was, but you look at the first 3 drives. Our defense set the tone. You get a strip sack, short field, offense capitalizes. Second drive, turnover on downs. They're unable to convert. I think it was like a 4th and 1, just about at midfield. And our defense set the tone in that game, and our offense just rolled away. But then you go and you look at the following games. Defense wasn't able to do that. Total team collapses. Lack of execution. Guys trying to do too much. You had Shaq at the press conference saying, "Just do your job." That all comes back to coaching. Goes back to coaching for me. When you have it's I don't know what Rule and company are preaching during practices, but it seems to be unraveling. It seems to be falling upon deaf ears. So this bye week came at a very good time. You was able to get away, rest up mentally, physically. These next 5 games are going to be telling, because the best sign, a sign of a good coach, a good leader, is when all seems lost, you're still able to get the guys to go out there and give their all.
Yeah.
Say what you will about Ron Rivera. Rivera had that respect from his players.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
where we were, you knew we weren't making the playoffs, but dudes still go out there and they would still execute. The locker room was still a solid unit.
Well, let me pose this question to everybody. Why is it that Matt Rule, if he lost this football team, what caused it to happen? Why are the players not giving their best performances for Matt Rule? And is that an indication to any of you that it's time to move on? I already know how a couple of you feel.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely know Brad feels that way.
Well,
let me
Because
go to Nova. Yeah, let me go to Nova. Nova, tell me what you think about. We'll go to Nova, then we'll go to Nick. Nova, what are you thinking, man? What has Matt Rule done wrong to lose this team so bad, man?
Okay, I'm glad you asked me, because I was big time on board for Matt Rule, after what he did at Baylor and Temple. But I'm gonna try to keep this short, man. Matt Rule, he's a clown. He wants to be too friendly with the players. He wants to treat grown men like they are college boys, and that ain't going to work in the NFL. There's no discipline on this team whatsoever. When you have Rivera, there was discipline. We might have trash play calling with Mike Shula, etc., bad offensive line, but what you didn't have is tons and tons of penalties and the failure and the failure or the lack of ability to correct the problem. And that's where Matt Rule fails. There's just no discipline.
Yeah, buddy. So, I mean, and that's the thing people don't realize, right? The biggest indicator for an undisciplined team is the number of penalties, and we have the most penalties in the entire NFL. We also have the most timeouts taken outside of the 2-minute warning in either half in the entire NFL.
That's time management's terrible.
But I mean,
you can be inflicted by what the fans are thinking. It's just not what a head coach should be doing.
Well, and that's the
player
thing.
Personnel is his management of that too. People been telling at the table for the longest that Christensen should have been getting more looks at left tackle. Blastoise should have been getting some play time. Like, you can miss me with we want to get his weight down. You had him out there in the preseason and he looked damn good.
Yeah.
Regular season starts up and you don't want to play the man.
Yeah, and that's been my biggest thing. To anyone that's been listening to me on this podcast, y'all know I run that into the dirt, man. It's like you have to play your rookie players. There's this idea that like you're throwing them out to the wolves. But no, man, it's like you're never gonna get good at something unless you do that thing. And the early part of our schedule was a prime moment for us to get some of our younger players involved in the game plan, get them some meaningful reps to see what you have in them. Now, we're still wondering about who Brady Christensen is and Deontay Brown are, and we're probably going to still be wondering about what kind of player they are going into next season. And then we're not going to know, okay, do we need to draft another left tackle? Do we need to invest in another guard sometime later in the draft? Do we need to use our free agency money to secure that position? Or do we have some meaningful depth already? The fact of the matter is we don't know because of the decisions that Matt Rule has made.
It's all the
I'm sorry. Look at it this way. Matt Rule's saying, well, they're not ready. Well, if they're not ready, guess what? It's an indictment on you as a coach because you were supposed to make sure that they're ready.
Mm-hmm.
You picked them in the draft. They were your players. So it's your job to make sure they're ready to go out on the field. Creed Humphrey doesn't seem to have a problem getting out there and playing. Trey Smith doesn't seem to have a problem getting out there and playing. Rashawn Slater, doesn't seem to have a problem getting out there playing. All three of them are rookies, and all three of them are playing outstanding football right now as rookies.
And then on top of that, Drew, what does he have against the offense? Because we're not going to pretend like the very year before that, he had an all-defensive draft and had no problem playing his defensive rookies, man. Derek Brown, Jeremy Chin. Like, it makes zero sense to me.
Offensive linemen, 3 of those guys shouldn't even be on an NFL practice squad, let alone on the field playing.
Yeah, so let's go to Nick, and then we'll go to Justin.
Well, first off, I think it goes back to what I said a long time ago. I think that whenever they built the team, they wanted the defense to be young and fast, and they wanted the offense to be old and experienced. I think that's how they're planning on building the team. I don't think it's the right way to build the team. I think the right way to build the team is it doesn't matter what order you do this in, but every year in the draft, in the first 4 rounds, two of the picks need to be linemen. Doesn't matter if it's O lineman or D lineman. Okay, but 2 of the picks in the top 4 rounds need to be those every year, so that way your lines stay young, they stay fresh. You always have depth. There's no real downside to it as long as if you pick correctly. That's just my 2 cents. And the team has obviously not done that. And any time that they have, other than Greg Little, it's paid off for them. Look at Taylor Moton.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, real quick, let's add a friend to the podcast. You know him from Panther Nation podcast. Rashad, what's going on, brother?
Hey, yo, what up? What's good with y'all, man? I just try to kick it with y'all for a couple minutes, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, free for all. Hey, man, the free for all is literally a free for all, man. Happy you could join us. Yeah, man, we've kind of talked a lot about these Panthers, but let me get you in on this, man. I had shared this earlier. and I don't think it's that controversial, but I wanted to get your opinion on this. And I was surprised that a lot of people actually agreed with me on this, but I put this on Twitter earlier, and I'm like, yo, Hassan Reddick is the only Panther that truly deserves to go to the Pro Bowl, man. And then we had a really good conversation about Shaq Thompson. Yeah, but I want to get your opinion on this. Am I going too hard? Am I off base on this? Am I not giving credit to another player that I should be?
Yeah,
what do you think, man?
I definitely think Shaq should be in there for sure. I think Shaq and Hassan are really two guys that have truly deserved it. But at the end of the day, we know the Pro Bowl is a popularity contest, so we got to do our part with these votes and get our guys in there and not complain. At the end of the day, let the All Pro votes and let the All Pro, all that stuff come out, and that truly dictates who deserves what. But at the end of the day, popularity contest. Let's just get our guys in there.
Okay,
yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, we just get our guys in, and and I said this earlier, man. To me, Hassan is looking like one of the very best pass rushers in the NFL. I mean, bar none. I mean, you look at what that guy is doing, how consistently he's done it. I feel like whenever our Panthers defense needs a big play, you normally see Hassan Reddick as the guy to do it. But my thing is this: Shaq Thompson's kind of been. I don't want to, like I said earlier, I'm not trying to belittle Shaq Thompson. He's played incredible this year, but this year has been his biggest, his most productive year. And I also feel like, we were wondering at the time whether or not it was the right thing to even pay him that extension at one point in time. So I'm kind of factoring all of that into my evaluation.
Yeah, no, I agree that Shaq is definitely the number change. It's like his cape. I mean that 7 number change is crazy. He's balling right now. I mean he's balling out of control. But what's crazy is that we gotta realize this. Linebackers are really only as good as what's in front of them, right? So you can't say that Shaq's playing bad and also criticize Derrick Brown at the same time. Like they work together, right? Derrick Brown needs to do his job in order for Shaq to do his job. When they do their jobs together, it's great. Because even Luke Kuechly struggled, right? That his last year, he was not that great due to what was in front of him. So we got to be careful with the individualization of these players. We got to be careful with the criticism and try to take a look at the whole picture because some guys are dependent on others. Just my opinion.
Well, and the thing that people forget was, for the first, right up until he got injured, Shaq was the number 1 coverage linebacker in the entire NFL. Jermaine Carter was like number 5. I mean, Shaq has been fantastic in coverage all season. But people don't look at that when they look at linebacker stats. They look at tackles.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
That's just a shame.
And that was kind of Kenneth's point earlier, man. If you're playing outside linebacker, and you're not a pass rusher, you're not doing the Von Miller, TJ Watt kind of thing, you're kind of inevitably overlooked. You're not the Mike linebacker either. It's a weird kind of situation for Shaq to be in. And also mentioning that Thomas Davis only ever went to 1 Pro Bowl. So it's like the very nature of the position is kind of hard to get a Pro Bowl nod in and of itself.
It's true.
Yeah, for sure.
Quick question.
Hey, look,
go ahead.
Talk about the.
Well, hold on. Let's go to Nova and then we'll go to SC.
No, I was just going to bring up that Shaq didn't have a definitive position when he came out of college. His first time playing full-time linebacker was behind Luke and TD in the NFL, so he still had to learn the position as well. So I think he's doing pretty good right now.
That's the way TD was. When TD played a lot of safety and linebacker in college, when he actually came into the NFL, a lot of you may not know this. You may know it, I don't know. But Thomas Davis actually bounced between safety and linebacker multiple times his rookie year because John Fox needed him at safety, put him at safety. Needed him at linebacker, put him at linebacker. A few years later, they asked Thomas Davis if that hurt his rookie year. He said definitely. Even John Fox said it on a YouTube video a few months ago when all the Pro Bowl. All the players were older players were there talking about the Super Bowl games. It was mentioned to John Fox, and John Fox said definitely so. I should have never moved. I should have kept him at linebacker and stuck him at linebacker. But bouncing him back and forth positions actually hurt his career. You know, so I mean, so if you go back and you look at Jeremy Chin, you know, I know granted it's a different position, it's a different responsibility, but he looked better last year at linebacker. Is he really a linebacker or is he a safety?
So Tony wanted me to share this too. He asked our good friend Louis T of the Louis T Network for his top linebackers in the NFL right now. This is the list, and I think it might just be NFC that he's got right here. This was his list of top 5 linebackers in the NFL. He's got Bobby Wagner, Devin White, Demario Davis, Fred Warner, Eric Kendricks, all of whom are having great years this year. And you have Shaq Thompson. Oh, here's Michael Parsons in honorable mentions. I'd have him higher than that.
I disagree with that.
Yeah,
I look at this
Michael Parsons
completely negated because you got Parsons in honorable mentions, so I can't respect this.
Yeah, dude, Parsons. Look, I'm gonna keep it real. I was kind of lower on Michael Parsons coming out of Penn State than some people were, but I feel like Dallas, they're using him in the perfect kind of role, man, to suit his skill set and abilities.
With Dallas, though, with Parsons, he's there because of injuries, right? They would have never, him on the edge would have never happened if they didn't have the injuries that they incurred. So, I mean, they got lucky in Michael Parsons and using him at the edge rusher. He did it in college. It's in his skill set. It's definitely something that he showed on film in college. So they got lucky. And I think Parsons is definitely should be on that list, no doubt.
You guys think
speaking of Parsons, would it have been ill-advised for us to take and the Cowboys drafted after us, correct? Or before us?
Yeah, they drafted 11.
So I'm looking back at the draft. Would it have been a big shot or a far reach to take Parsons instead of my boy from South Carolina? JC Horn?
I mean, not in hindsight. Like, knowing how thin we are at the linebacker position, I mean, we've got some guys, but our depth is not that great. I feel like we're kind of still out on Jermaine Carter. That's a whole nother conversation we can have. We've been very impressed by Frankie Louvu, I feel like. But yeah, man, dude, if you look at what Michael Parsons is doing, we have not been able to fill the shoes of Luke Kuechly.
He also got Dan Quinn as a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I mean, and he's got players around him too, man. Trayvon Diggs has 9 interceptions this year, man. Like, that Dallas defense, that's a legit defense, man. Whether we like to say that or not, it is what it is.
Piggybacking on what Rashad was saying, though, I mean, all those players on that list have a better defensive lineman in front of them, have better defensive tackles in front of them than we have. I mean, that's just a reality. I mean,
Luke had his best years. Luke had his best years when we had KK Short,
star. You gotta have a decent. The front seven isn't. Your linebackers are only as good as your defensive tackles because that's just the way it is. I mean, people keep discounting people keep discounting how valuable a decent defensive tackle is, and it's kind of insane to me.
Yeah, I mean, dude, do you guys remember Luke Kuechly when he won a Defensive Player of the Year? He was talking on the microphone saying, "Dude, I give all my credit to Star Lotulelei and K1 Short, the guys in front of me, man. They're the guys that allow me to shoot my gap, play fast, and I guess so. That's kind of like an argument in favor of Shaq Thompson, right? Because I feel like our defensive tackle play this year.
I think I disagree. I disagree with. I know our guys have had some bad games,
especially lately.
Yeah, lately. I agree with you. There's no argument there, but they have played well before. Like, I think a lot of criticism is coming as if they've been terrible all year, and that's not the case. I think it really coincides if you really look at Shaq's play. Like, when Shaq has his best games, our interior guys are getting it done. I think it's a one-to-one relationship. Like it's really that simple.
Well,
except for when we play that wide zone running scheme, they can't seem to fit the gaps. The linebackers act like they don't know which holes to hit.
Well, Luke Kuechly, back when he played, Kuechly was often called the coach on the field, the leader on the field, and he played that role. If you go back and look at his old tapes, he lined people up, and frequently twice I saw him grab Thomas Davis by the shoulder pad and drag him across the other side of the field. Say, line right there. They listen to him.
So is Shaq not doing that out there this year?
No, and he's got the green dot
that's
too.
not Shaq's role, though. It's just, I mean, they ain't been one Luke Kuechly, brother.
Right. I've been seeing Shaq doing that.
Shaq's a great running back. Yeah.
But Shaq's been doing it, though. Shaq's been doing it, putting guys in place. They're not listening.
To complicate things, too, back to the what do we do with this season discussion and what do we do next offseason, Bobby Wagner, I believe, informed the Seahawks during this last offseason that he did not want a contract extension and that this would be his last year on the team. Just FYI, so he will be a free agent.
He's about, 32 years old now, 33?
32. Oh, it's 31 right now. It'll be 32 next year.
But he's still playing at an incredibly high level.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
could we afford him though?
Hey,
I
real
don't think
quick,
we'd be able
Moore
to
and a few other players.
Hey, real quick. Let me get my man Kevin Bosch over in here. Kevin, what's up, bro? Can you hear me? Kevin, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Cool. What's up, bro?
Can you hear me? No, man.
Dan,
just chilling after work.
I was about to say, you in the ER, man?
What? Oh.
You look like you're in the ER, man. No, I'm just making sure you're all right.
He is in the ER. He got busted.
Oh no, he'll be back. Hey, but no, you know what? Since we were already kind of having this conversation anyway, I wanted to have this conversation with you all, and everybody give me your honest opinion. I want to get everyone in on this. Is Derek Brown living up to that top 10 pick that was spent on him? Because, bro, I mean, this has been kind of hot button for me, man. I've been fighting on Twitter, man, going back and forth with people about, should we have taken him? Isaiah Simmons, who I was a big time fan of, coming out. Tristan Wirfs was there. I mean, there were some players to be had, and we took Derek Brown to be our monster in the middle. Has he lived up to that position?
I just want to point something out. They didn't start him in the last game, right? There was no noticeable drop in production granted, I know that our defensive tackles were complete garbage last game. Like, our defensive line did not do particularly well, but there was no difference in production as far as when Derek Brown was on the field and when he wasn't last game. I mean, that's just an observation.
That's because Bravion Roy is a big boy and he can do it too. I just think it's the mental thing for him.
Well, so Derek Brown, he's a space eater, but he's not that defensive tackle that's going to share blocks and get tackled like K1 Short and Star. And I think that's what we were looking for, drafting somebody that high.
I disagree with that. He's had a ton of pressures going back to last year. I just think with Derek Brown again, it's about position value, right? For me, like when you go into the draft, it's about what positions are valuable, right? Defensive tackle is one of those positions where you're just like, I don't know if I want to spend a top 10 pick on it. So it's going to be difficult,
right?
Unless he turns out to be fucking Aaron Donald, there's no way he's going to live up to it. There's nothing he can do unless he has like a 10 sack. But let me say this though. I think he's doing his job. I think he's had a couple bad games. I think he's doing a decent job, but he's never going to live up to that because y'all want to see sacks.
It's only his second year.
Exactly.
That's not really sacks.
Yeah. And plus, it's wrong to compare Derek to a linebacker or Derek to a safety or Derek to a left tackle. Compare Derek to other defensive tackles taken in the top 10.
Yeah, but then But all right, but let's even do that. Is Derek Brown, and I know a lot of these players have been in the NFL longer, but is he doing what Vita Vea is doing for the Buccaneers? Is he doing?
Bro,
I mean, like compare him to
different coach, different defense, different scheme.
Vita Vea is 360 fucking pounds, bro. Like he's not going to do.
Derek Brown ain't little either.
He's not 360, fam. He cannot do what Vita Vea can do. They're two totally different.
What can he do?
That's like comparing
They
Carter
got
and
different
Luke
skill
Kuechly.
sets.
It just don't work.
But my thing is this though, like going to what Rashad said, if you're drafting a defensive tackle in the top 10, like he kind of was never going to live up to that kind of hype anyway by the nature of that position. But at the end of the day, that only goes to prove my initial point is that whether he is a good player or not, whether he's living up to what he was drafted to do or not, the fact of the matter is he is a big body in the middle of your defensive line that runs stuff in defensive tackle, and you don't draft those kind of players in the top 10. So no matter what Derek Brown does, unless he's able to be a kind of a Vita Vea kind of player, he's not going to be worth it, man.
Well, and you know, it's really wrong.
He's not even starting work right now.
So
let's go to Brad, then we'll go to Kevin.
So and like I said, even like with my previous comments, I'm not trying to say he's a draft bust. He's in year 2. Anybody having that draft bust discussion, I know I've bid on it a couple times on Twitter myself. It's wrong to have that discussion. He's not a draft bust. We shouldn't even be entertaining the discussion until year 3. But I mean, I do think that inherently, you know, his position is not one you take in the top 10. I mean, he's not. It runs stuff in defensive tackle. Is a top 10 pick is supposed to be a blue chip, change the course of your franchise player, and he's not that.
Yeah. So Rashad, let me ask you this, man. Okay, if Vita Vea isn't a fair comparison, who does he compare to? Like what should we be comparing him up against right now to say that he has lived up to any of the hype that Panther fans have put on?
That's a good question. I don't know that answer off the top of my head. I don't know of any tackles taken in the top 10 that are like runs, because it typically doesn't happen, right? We're holding him accountable for something that he has no control over, right? They picked him in that position, and shit he can do about it but play his game, right? But I will say, I mean, my man, he had 31 total pressures last year. That was first in the rookie class, right? He was picked as the first defensive tackle. So he was first in pressures, and he was first in tackles for loss last year, right? Now the sophomore slump is occurring, right? Give him some time. I think Star is a fair comparison. Great point there. I think Star is a good comparison. And Star didn't put up the numbers, but he had KK next to him. They were a dynamic duo, right? So go back and compare stats. I think you'll see similar stats to what DB's putting up. It's just again, when it's a holistic thing, you gotta look at the defense as a whole instead of looking at individual players. In my opinion, that's just my opinion. But I don't know what they compare them to be honest with you.
Well, then also think of someone like Star Lotulelei. I mean, is Derek even fitting the kind of role that Star had? Because I think we all kind of had to. I mean, if you were paying attention, you knew how good Star Lotulelei was. But Panther fans didn't really truly understand what Star meant to this team until after he left. It's like, oh, bro, we got a hole on our D line that we didn't thought that we were going to have. So I think maybe that's kind of still haven't replaced him.
And not to interject,
and that's why I chose Derek Brown.
If we're looking at the defense holistically, right, and I totally get that, our defense isn't particularly good at stopping the run. I mean, or at least they haven't been for a few weeks now. And he's supposed to be this big run-stopping defensive tackle, but I mean, we can be running on that is known.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, we can do this with a few different people, man. We could have this conversation about, was Christian McCaffrey worth the top 10 pick that we spent on him?
Never.
I don't really think so either.
I was watching Mike Florio the other day on NBC, NFL NBC, and he said Chris McCaffrey's injury shows that teams should not take any running backs in the top 20 anymore.
You shouldn't.
No, it shows teams shouldn't overpay running back just because they can catch.
Well, I mean, the problem is when you take a player in the first round, you're typically not taking a player that you want to see walk away, right?
I think that
I think the reality is the lesson should be learned here. You don't take running backs in the first round. I mean, you got Tennessee got Derrick Henry in the second round. I mean,
yeah, true.
It's
just the reality.
It's literally the most.
Look what New England's working.
It's
Look
the
at New
most
England.
replaceable position in the league, fam. Like you can get a running back anywhere, and I know everybody's gonna say, "Well, oh, he can't.
Right.
You can't. They can't catch." Like, well, throw it to your fucking receivers then. Like, you use your receivers.
Right.
Like that's what they're there to do. And I get it. I love C-Mac, man, because every time I talk about C-Mac, I think I'm a hater, and it's not the case. I think he was overdrafted, and I think he was paid too much.
Agreed.
And now we're just kind of stuck with it, and I don't think he's going anywhere.
We've also never had an offensive line for him either, though. So we never really seen full potential.
And that offensive line is hurt.
We've never seen full potential. We've seen all the potential. He had a 2K season, bro. We've seen all we need to see out of C-Mac, bro.
Yeah, and it was behind a bad offensive line.
We saw one season of that. We could have saw more seasons of that.
You know why you haven't? Because he can't stay on the damn field. That's why you ain't seen it.
We're 27th in run blocking wins. That's horrible.
It didn't stop him in the past from getting 1K and 1K because they fed it to him a million times.
I mean, Panther fans on Twitter are having a discussion about whether or not we should move Christian to a full-time slot wide receiver.
We should.
And a lot of us are like, yeah, maybe he should to save his body from the rigors of playing running back. Maybe he should do that. But I mean, I'm kind of a purist, right? And by the way, just so that way we're clear, like you can copy paste the name of any running back in the NFL you can think of into this equation, and my opinion remains the same. It doesn't matter if it's Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, Nick Chubb. Like, I'm not going to take a linebacker that high and then pay them so much. As Rashad said, the position's very replaceable. And then number two, the nature of that position, they get so banged up and so hurt. Look how many times or how many games guys have missed this year. Nick Chubb has missed games. Alvin Kamara has missed games. Derrick Henry is out for the season.
Has anyone heard of Le'Veon Bell?
Right. It happened, girly. It happens. Yo, so real quick, it's interesting you say that, Cody, because we had the pleasure of interviewing Miles Hartsfield, right? And you guys know how he played running back last year. He took a snap at the running back, and he was like, yo, when he got hit, he was like, he doesn't know how Christian McCaffrey gets hit 40 times a game. He doesn't see it. He got destroyed. He said, I don't know how C-Mac gets hit 40 times a game. It just speaks to the position. It just like when he said it, I'm like, yo, they just don't they're not built to last forever, bro. Like there's a couple that do it, and it's great for them. Adrian Peterson, a couple guys, but yo, the position as a whole, they're not gonna last long, especially when you feed them 40 times, 30 times a game, even with the catches, all that stuff, it adds up, bro.
Well, that's why you don't pay him all the money, right?
Bingo.
Yeah. Well, that's why you have a committee too, right? Most teams have more than one running back that they can feed the ball to. They don't just rely on one running back to do all the work.
Running back.
Well, you wonder how.
Kyle Shanahan.
Isn't that when you drafted a running back?
That might be why we drafted Chuba Hubbard, but we're not using him that way.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, but so I want to get everyone in on this conversation. Dexter, what do you think about Derek Brown and the pick that was used on him, and for that matter, Christian McCaffrey too? I mean, do you think that picking those two guys in the top 10 was a mistake? Is it just in hindsight that it's a mistake? Was it a good idea at the time? What do you think?
I don't know. Derek Brown, I still think he's got a lot to show. I think it's unfair to judge him right now. He's been out for a long time now, and he needs to come back. And I think we should have played him against Miami. I don't know why we didn't, but he's still only really young. He's still got a lot to prove. Top 10, it's first round. I don't know if it was worth it, but we'll just have to wait and see, I think. With Christian McCaffrey, I don't know. He's a big player for us. He has been for a long time now, and as much as I agree with everything you're saying, I don't think Hubbard, when we play him, you can see such a difference.
Yeah.
you know, and it is difficult. I do think we should play him as a receiver. You know, I think that would have been good to bring him in this season as a receiver, just to see what he's got on the last end, and also to try and keep him from getting beaten up so much. I think that would have been the call for this season, but I don't know. I also think that he might be saying no to it. Maybe it's been put forward to it, just his attitude.
Yep.
I think he might also be putting in, no, you know, I don't want to be a receiver.
I think that is a
He's been
great
told his whole
point.
life that he can't last. He's been told his whole life he can't last. He's not going to want to switch. He wants to prove it.
Well,
But
and,
he
you know,
tried to do it, didn't he? And it didn't work out for him. So
Somebody said, I don't know if y'all watch Keep Pounding TV, but they said ever since he started dating Olivia Corpo, that's when it started going downhill.
Wow.
That's it. But that's it. Blame it on the woman.
I don't blame him.
well,
I don't blame him.
you know, and
Yeah, I
I
don't
hate to
either.
point this out. I hate to point this out, but the entire Carolina Panthers offensive game plan is to force feed Christian McCaffrey, right? He's still getting 40% of it. I think his last game was 40% of the total touches. His last full game, anyway.
going back to what you were saying before, Cody, you know, where you said what have we got to do to maybe make the playoffs. I think we've just got to go for the deep balls now. We've got nothing to lose. You know, even in the draft, we were picking one in the top 100. That's our one advantage. We've got nothing to lose, and we've just got to go for it now.
Right. Wow, that's a good point, man. When you say it like that, people have made the point too. All the teams that we're going to be contending for that wild card with, they all own the tiebreaker over us because they beat us. So it's like we're not even really in a great position anyway. So yeah, the fact that we have nothing to lose. Now, okay, all right, that's actually kind of a good segue. Do you guys trust Cam Newton to be better with the football going forward? And what do you make of Cam's bad performance against the Miami Dolphins? Do you put that on Cam? Was Cam just being inaccurate? Did he not have enough time to, really feel comfortable in the offense? What are we thinking about Cam for the rest of this season? But then give me your opinion going forward. Would you like to see Cam Newton a part of this team next year? And I want to hear everyone on this. I want to get everyone in on this.
Well, Cody, should I just let it slip now?
Do your thing, man.
So, I already drove down to Charlotte and saw one monstrosity. Okay. I didn't watch the monstrosity from last weekend. So, look, I saw the stats. The stats were enough. That was actually what made me not want to actually watch the game. That was terrible. I've seen some of the highlights. I'm not impressed with what I saw as far as stats. It's an all-around collective failure. Part of it is definitely on Cam. But, the O-line, the stats from the O-line, absolute garbage. It's not on just one player at this point. It's on everybody. And I'd like to see Cam come back, but I'd like to see Cam come back only if we actually have a real offensive line.
Yeah, and then again, we have all the same questions about that offensive line.
Well,
yeah,
see, and that's the thing is anybody. I have I live out of network, so I have to pay to watch these games, which is really unfortunate. But Cam deserves a fair amount of criticism for his performance, but at the same time, it should be lost on no one that was historically the worst offensive line performance since they started recording statistics on PFF. It was the bottom barrel, worst offensive performance of their lifetimes. So you've got to remember that offensive line was not good. They had a left guard starting at left tackle and a left tackle starting at left guard. That really shouldn't be lost on anybody. And the play calling this year has been suspect from day one, right? Does he deserve criticism? Yes. But, that should have a big asterisk right next to it.
Yeah. Would you feel comfortable paying him next year to have him come back and have a full offseason, or do you think that we should be trying to upgrade that position?
I don't think there is an upgrade for that position, honestly. I think Cam Newton's probably still going to be your best option in the offseason. You're probably going to be better off extending him, but then it goes back to the question of with what money, right? I mean, our cap we're not sitting particularly as financially healthy as Scott Fitterer says we are. We do only have $29 million in cap right now to spend next year. Like I said, there's maneuvering we can do. Like if we trade a couple players off, if we release a few players, if we restructure, if we do avoidable years, if we do unlikely bonuses, things like that to kind of manipulate the cap, we could probably swing it, but we have a lot of mouths to feed and we're not going to be able to keep everybody. And that's just a harsh reality. So do I like to see him back next year? Absolutely. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. It depends on, I think it depends on who the management is of this team next year.
You said management? You mean like Scott Fitterer, like in our GM role?
I'm gonna be
or
real.
You mean our coaches?
I'm gonna be real with you. I think if David Tepper decides to fire Matt Rule after his second season, I hope he burns the whole thing down and does the same for Scott Fitterer.
See,
Because
that seems. I hear you.
I don't agree with
but that seems so unrealistic.
But
to me.
we've already seen that. I get it, and I agree with that. But at the same time, Scott Fitterer doesn't get enough heat for some of the decisions they made this offseason.
True,
right?
True.
He should have been the sanity check for trading for Sam Darnold. He should have been the sanity check for trading for CJ Henderson. I get that I totally understand that those are developmental prospects and whatnot, but I mean, you got to have a voice of reason in the room, and I worry with Matt Rule around it that hasn't been the case. And if you look at Seattle, he's from Seattle. You look at Seattle, that is not. They traded away their first two picks or their first round picks for 2 years to get Jamal Adams, right? They do not look like a well-run organization. I live in this area. I can tell you right now, if I do not want to see a repeat of the same sins twice. I do not want to see a coach get hired by a GM who's already maybe on his way out. I'd rather just start clean slated and start over.
I mean, go ahead.
There was so many points I want to jump in on, man.
Go ahead, do it. Do you think, man?
I just think that I think you're two different scenarios, right? Seattle's different, right? They operate in a different manner because they have a franchise quarterback. They can do things a little bit different. And I think that Scott, again, we've hashed this out a million times. We did it ass backwards, right? Take a look at when Scott Fitterer was hired here. Like it wasn't like he had a full go at it. Oh, he's got a full off season to analyze everything. He had to hit the ground running, man. So like I feel like you have to cut him just a little bit of slack there. Yeah, is every move he made perfect? Absolutely not. He deserves some criticism for sure. But I think if anybody stays, it should be him, and let him pick his own people and let him build the team the appropriate way. I think he's getting a lot of things in his ear. I think the lines of communication as far as control are all off. Like Tepper, who wants the QB? Is it Tepper? Is it Matt Rule? Like I think give the man the real power and let him build and see what happens. So I think Fitterer gets a little bit of an unfair shake. But again, does he deserve to be criticized? Absolutely. As far as Cam goes, I think I would personally give Cam a 2-year deal. Again, I don't think there's any quarterback that you're going to draft that's going to come in here. Everybody's talking about Kenny Pickett and all this, Matt Corral and all these other guys. They're great players, but they don't belong here. Like we have shit to do. You have to get an offensive line in place before you even think about sniff bringing a quarterback in here. Give Cam a 2-year deal and just do what you should have did when you got Teddy. Like when you got Teddy, you were on the right track. The plan was in motion. Pick somebody up when you have a vet, sit him behind the vet, and then let him take over. So give Cam a 2-year deal. Find the money. You can find the money. The cap is meant to be played with. You can restructure deals, as Brad was saying. You can get the voided years. You can find the money if you really want it. As long as you do it with the right people, right? Restructuring Christian McCaffrey probably wasn't the best idea, but restructuring Shaq was probably a better idea. So again, as long as you're doing it with the right people, you're fine. But yeah, get Cam a 2-year deal, and then I think again, don't draft the quarterback this year. I think you were talking about this earlier before I got on, Cody. You have to find out what you have in the offensive line. If you have a left tackle, if you have a left tackle, it does wonders to the draft. The whole board changes, right? You can do completely different things if you have a left tackle, if you have a guard. You have to find out if those guys are viable. And I'm not sure that I'm going to get enough film. I would like to see them play more than 8 games at left tackle or at their positions to make that determination. But the talent, I think the games that we're going to go up against or the teams we're playing are going to give them a true test. And I feel like you have to start Brady Christensen at left tackle. You have to put Deontay Brown in at guard. Find out what you have. Because if you don't need to pick up a left tackle in the first round, it changes everything, bro. So that's how I think you should build it moving forward. But I think you got to give Cam a 2 year deal.
But then also, why do I have no faith that they're gonna do that? That they're even gonna give Brady Christensen a chance? They brought back up Deontay Brown from IR. I mean, are we gonna see him on the field? And that goes back to my original point. We're gonna go into next season. We have 2 offensive linemen that could potentially be answers for us on the offensive line, but we still don't know. And now we're going to push this off to next year to really find out what we have in those players. I think that's Matt Rule doing a disservice to this entire football team.
The team feels like it's a place where quarterbacks come to die. It doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah.
You could get Russell Wilson in it. It just doesn't matter. It's just like behind the offensive line, no one's going to perform as well as they should be performing. So it really doesn't matter.
That's coaching.
And kind of to piggyback on what Rashad said, I really could see a scenario where they bring back Cam and Sam Darnold and just make a competition out of them. I mean, Sam Darnold's played like crap, but there's nobody in the draft, and I don't see any free agent quarterbacks coming here. So,
we're stuck with Darnold no matter what. We're stuck with Darnold. I mean, no. Yeah. I mean, what team are you going to fleece for them to send you some picks for Sam Darnold?
I mean, what picks to get him off our books?
You might have to give a pick to get him.
And you know, and I got news for you too. I mean, one more bad performance for Cam Newton. Sam Darnold was warming up. To come off the IR.
Matt Rule would do it.
Matt Rule would start Sam Darnold in a heartbeat. I mean, because he deep down he knows that his success is tied to that man.
Yeah, we're screwed.
The whole season just feels like we caught everything on the roulette table on red. It's like we just got to, from the start of the season, it's like just gamble everything, and it's just not paid off.
And the board hit green, dude. That's where we.
Literally, yeah.
That's where
bro. Well, shout out to Pat Coltrane. I was watching Pat the other night, and he made the point. He was like, "Man, this is everybody learning how to do everything."
Yep.
Matt Rule is learning how to be a head coach. Fitterer learning how to be a GM. Joe Brady's learning how to be an offensive coordinator. Phil Snow learning how to be a defensive coordinator. It's like everybody in the Carolina Panthers organization is learning on the job. And yet we were having to figure out whether this is going to bust or not. Mm-hmm. Like, bro, it's rough right now, man.
It's tough.
And the Panther fans about to learn how to march.
Hey, I'm ready. Y'all let me know when to set it up. I'll set up the march on Mint. We get this thing cracking, bro.
Bro, I live right down the street, man. Let me know. I'll be there with bells on, dog.
If you guys do that, I swear to God, I'll fly out and be there.
I'm telling you, man. If y'all want to do it, and if this season doesn't end the way, or at least you got to give us a little bit of hope, bro. Like you got to give us something. If we close this shit out with 5 or 6 wins, bro, you might as well book it, man. We ride. We going down on Mint Street, and we gonna have something to say. Like, cause this shit is unacceptable, bro.
Yeah, man.
If that's all right. Obviously, the aim always is to get to the playoffs, right? But how embarrassing would it be to get to the playoffs and lose like we lost against the Giants or the Patriots?
Oh, you know it's going to happen.
And
with how this team has played this year, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if that's what happens.
Dude, you can forget the playoffs, man.
I know.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you on that.
Y'all are talking playoffs. I don't think we're going to win another game.
Yeah, that's where I am.
I don't either. I don't think we're going to win another game.
So on our schedule, we have the Atlanta Falcons, the Buffalo Bills, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, New Orleans Saints, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, if we lose that Falcons game, bro, it's over. It's
yeah,
over.
I mean, and I fully expect Cordell Patterson to run wild on us. I mean, I really do. But then again, the guy who put a bet on friggin' what's his butt to go over 200 yards on us from the Falcons. God,
dude, I've had to learn the hard way not to bet, because most of the best bets I make are never like for real money. But then when I do put real money, dude, I always look terrible.
Yeah, I lost.
When Cam joined, I put £22 on us making the playoffs and £1 on us winning the Super Bowl. What a waste that was, eh?
Oh man, waste of good pound.
Losing some weight.
There
it
is.
Come on, man.
Sorry.
We're no tune. Drum.
Yeah, bro. But also at home too. And that doesn't spell well for us, because dude, we're one of the worst home teams in the NFL, man. The fact that the Panthers put up some of their worst performance and be away, dude, that's unacceptable, man. Unacceptable.
Well, and I kind of championed this in the town hall Sunday, but a lot of people have been kind of on this too. A lot of folks are ready to stop supporting this team, stop buying products, stop showing up to games, stop. You got to send a message. If we got to send a message to Tepper in some way, right? I mean, the best way to do it is right in the bank account.
But that's why he got Cam back, man. Bringing Cam back kind of gave him a little bit of breathing room in that area. So people are gonna want to come see Cam. But yeah, I agree. I agree that there is definitely a sense that folks are like, yo, we done with this team, man. I'll never be in that boat, but I am gonna complain about it. For sure.
Well, I mean, to me, it wouldn't even be there. Like, if he came out and fired Matt Rule tomorrow, I'd be completely on the other side of that. I mean, honestly, I think 90% of our problems are the coaching staff.
I agree.
Yeah.
And to put inside the injury, our former coach, Ron Rivera, has a depleted injured roster and an undrafted quarterback about to make the playoffs.
No,
he always does. Yep. He always does. I mean, he always makes December a fight. He just does. That's what he does.
So, man, there's a
coach.
There's a saying: the antithesis of love is not hate; it's apathy. And basically, that goes from if you love something to you just don't care anymore. There's no reason to even care about it. And if the Panthers are going to be looking down a situation where there's no hope for the next year or two for the Carolina Panthers to be able to make meaningful strides in our own division, let alone the rest of the NFC, man, you're looking at a potential all-time low for Panther fans looking for someone to rescue this franchise, man. And then to the points that we've pointed out earlier, too, Cam Newton really is the only answer that we truly have going forward, whether we like it or not, because we don't even have the proper draft picks to go and get someone like a Russell Wilson or an Aaron Rodgers. We don't have the firepower to be able to pull the trigger on those types of trades.
Yeah,
we're really stuck right now, man.
Talking quarterbacks, the only really option we have, and nobody wants it. And I'm one of those that you don't want to do this, but I truly believe if Matt Rule's still in charge come the draft, he'll draft a quarterback in the first round.
I mean, there's a lot of traffic on Kenny Pickett because he was a Temple commit.
Yep.
But,
I believe that's what he's going to go get.
Bro,
we may not like it, but that's just what I think he's going to do.
I would be so pissed off if we do that. I would be.
Well,
that's kind of like Matt Corral. I kind of like Matt Corral.
I love Matt Corral's my type quarterback. I love Matt. I love bro, but it's just not drafting a quarterback is not going to fix any of these issues. And I don't even know if I want Matt Rule picking another quarterback for us. He ran through 3 or 4 of them right now. I'm done with him, the quarterback.
So looking at the rookies from this year, right? Looking at the rookies from this year, look at Trevor Lawrence, look at Justin Fields, look at Zach Wilson. They're all underperforming. And why are they underperforming? Because they don't have offensive lines.
Yeah, bad football teams. Yep. And if you're drafting a quarterback, you're signaling to everyone that the 2022 Panthers are not a legitimate contender because you're going to have a rookie quarterback in his first year in the NFL. You're still trying to rebuild this offensive line. I mean, you're telling everyone that you're not prepared to compete. Again, unless you have Cam Newton and you're willing to let them come up under Cam, which maybe that might be something that they want to do. I'll tell you this, and then I'll pass the mic. I do think Matt Rule really likes Cam Newton. I do think he really likes his work ethic and what he brings to, from a leadership perspective. I think he really likes Cam, so that can kind of paint a scenario in my mind where they would be okay with letting a young quarterback come up under Cam Newton. But yeah, I mean, I haven't watched a lot of college film yet. I'm a Clemson fan, so Pitt beat Clemson this year. So I saw Kenny Pickett throw on us. The dude has an arm, but yeah, we're not really in a position to cater to a young quarterback right now with this offensive line being one of the worst in football.
Look, I'd even go as I might get some hate for this, but I'd even go as far as saying that with a decent offensive line, I'd even want Darnold to play a game just to make sure that he weren't a bust. That's how
I'm right there with you on that.
Yeah,
it's just
I've been pounding the table for that all year. You know, I'm not going to hop on Sam Darnold as bad as a lot of guys are, just because I really want to see what he would do with an actual real O-line. I mean, there's some things that I liked about Sam Darnold that he did. Now, granted, few and far between. But there's at least some sort of potential there. As far as what, I have no idea. But
I don't know, guys. That one game where, what was that, the Patriots game, the first snap of the game, he had like 20 seconds in the pocket and he threw a pick.
Yeah.
Is that the game I'm talking
He's
about?
the worst passer from a clean pocket. I've seen enough, bro. He's done.
Yeah, Sam
was it against Philadelphia? It was the first snap of the game. He threw an interception.
Yeah.
The Vikings.
No,
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
I still think it's too unfair to just completely roll him out as a bust, though, without giving him the good chance.
I mean, I hear you, and Dexter, to your point, when you said earlier that Carolina is where quarterbacks are going to die, it's like, yeah, no matter what quarterback you talk about, be it, Cam Newton, Sam Darnold, PJ Walker, they've had to perform behind terrible protection. And no matter who it is, no matter what quarterback we end up rolling with, I personally hope it's Cam over Sam Darnold. But if we do that, yeah, we have to put better protection around them, or else we're just putting them in a position to fail year after year after year.
On Sunday after that game, I was so angry. It felt like we'd lost everything. It felt like we've shown all our cards, between Cam, and then we even put PJ on. Throughout everything we've been through, we've always been saying like, oh, well, we could still give PJ a run out, still give PJ, or we give everyone an opportunity. It felt like we had nothing after that game, nothing that's worth shouting about. It was so depressing.
Well, and to be honest, that's why this next stretch of games is so important, because we do need to roll. We need to inject the youth into the roster, let them play and see what we have. Yeah. I mean, it really kind of comes down to, like, I don't have a problem with them drafting a quarterback in the next draft if they have more than one first round pick because they traded assets away. I have no problem with that. But my biggest concern is, what are you doing? Like, we're probably going to have a top 10 pick. What are you doing with that top 10 pick? Is it a left tackle? Is it a center? I mean, those are the types of positions that you should probably consider taking there. Either getting somebody who can anchor down the left side, the blind side, or somebody who can actually, be the leader of your offensive line. I mean, those are important positions.
Yeah, I think. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
And I don't care. I mean, if they take Kenny Pickett, if we have 2 first-round picks and they take Kenny Pickett with the second one, great. But you have to address that offensive line. I mean, we can't just keep kicking this can down the road.
Yeah.
I don't trust the coaching staff or this organization to draft good offensive line. I mean, they had Slater right there in a nutshell. And even if they would have drafted him, Matt Rule likely would be playing him and likely would have played him at guard instead of tackle. I mean,
It's
I
so
just,
embarrassing.
I mean,
because Rashawn Slater had the same arm length issue that Christensen does, right?
yeah,
Doesn't he?
and it just, I mean, I absolutely don't trust the coaching staff to draft offensive. And even if they go sign a free agent, do they really know what they're doing? I mean, they call
do anything.
You know, it's kind of funny because I was in a conversation in the not that long ago where we talked about the free agents that they brought in, and really the only one that's really hit has been Hassan Reddick. We also talked about, somebody made the statement that they think they draft really well, and I'm like, okay, well, look at the last couple years of drafts, right? The only one that's really hit has been Jeremy Chin. I mean, the rest of them are average, or they haven't had a chance to play yet. They haven't contributed.
Yeah,
second one.
Isn't it also, you know, where you see Rashawn Slater having such success with the Chargers, and I've said that guy might be the best left tackle in football. Forget, you know, rookie left tackles. Like that guy, he gave Chase Young, Myles Garrett all they could handle, man. He's that good. But it's like, are you worried? Like when David Tepper, you know, comes in and starts getting on his high horse about analytics, and he wants an analytical football team. You know, it's stuff like that that concerns me. Like, shout out to One Carolina on YouTube. His name is John. Check him out. He brought up the point that traditionally in the NFL, if you're playing offensive line and your arms are under a certain length, most of those guys end up playing guard in the NFL. So it's like a numbers thing. Most of those guys end up there anyway. So you might as well, if you're going to draft them, you might as well just put them as a guard. But like, doesn't that take all the analyst work out of looking at a player's film? Like, if a player has short arms, shouldn't your general manager and your coaching staffs identify that as a flaw in his film before just saying, okay, these are his measurements, so therefore not gonna work? Like it takes all the analytical work out of it, man.
Well, and if we're going to really talk about analytics, right? Nothing this organization has done has actually been supported by analytics. Like nothing from the play calling.
Yeah,
look at
that exactly.
Dude, their Pat Elflein graded as 151 out of 151 possible offensive linemen by PFF last year. Cam Irving was rated at 147 out of 151, and they were our day one free agent signings. I don't care if you know, I understand, you know, Matt Rule came out and said, oh, they were first round picks and yada, yada, yada. Okay, cool. But if you're looking at 151 out of 151 and 147 out of 151, that should be your red flag to go look at the fucking tape.
Yeah. There's no common sense to any of the decisions that are being made. And you're right. They're very non-analytical in nature. It's very hypocritical almost.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. But all right, fellas, I gotta get out of here, man.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate y'all. This is fun always. You guys keep it up. But I'm gonna holler at y'all. Shout to everybody else on the line, man. Holler at y'all. Peace out.
Appreciate you, Rashad. Y'all check out PNP on YouTube, y'all. Peace and love, man. So yeah, we're closing in on 2 hours. One, dude, I appreciate you all for joining me. We have 65 people in here. Hit the like button if you haven't already, man. Get the thumbs up going. Hit the subscribe button and hit that notification bell for every single time we go live, man. There's no football game this weekend. Normally, this is where I would ask people for their predictions, you know. But so I'll change it up this week. Is there a certain game or matchup that you're looking forward to this Sunday now that there is no Panther football? And yeah, I'll throw that to anyone who wants to go. But or do you enjoy watching other football teams when the Panthers aren't playing? Because
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of enjoying. I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
No, you're right. No, go ahead.
I'm enjoying watching the Washington football team right now. I mean, they have a lot of our former players. They're playing with a lot of heart, so I'm interested to see if they can make a playoff push. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm secretly cheering for that quarterback, yo. I know he played pretty good the game he played for us till he got hurt.
Oh, you mean Taylor?
Yeah. Taylor. Yeah, he the game he played for us a couple years ago, he played real good. I think it was against the Falcons. Everybody was praising him, and then he gets hurt. And that's
Yeah.
then we put in I forgot his name. We put in the other young guy we had, and he got
Kyle
hurt.
Allen. Kyle
Yeah,
Allen.
we put Kyle
Yep.
Allen in, and he got hurt. And it was like, all right, which one of these young hurt guys are we going to play next? So,
Yeah. And,
but,
and Matt knows nothing too. There's a good college football game this week too with Georgia, Alabama. That's tomorrow.
I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, I am too.
I want to see Kenny Pickett play there. I'm going to try to watch that on TV because I just want to see him play. I haven't really watched him play at all this year. I just want to see him play. I don't think I'm still going to hold out hope that we don't take a quarterback, but
And by the way, on that note, everybody keep it glued to the C3 channel because I've decided I'm going to get started on my draft content.
Good.
Earlier this year than I have before. I think it's been called for, but it's an interesting draft class too, and I'm interested to delve into this class. I put a lot of work into my top 100 players. I know almost no one reads this shit, but I really try and put myself in the mindset of like a professional scout, and I try and do my best to make a big board. So that'll be fun, and I'll be sure and share it with everyone. That'll be cool. But yeah, is there any other games that you're looking forward to? Any other teams that you're looking forward to?
I'm excited by the Bengals this year. I think they're playing good. I like the way they're playing as well.
They've surprised me. I wasn't expecting that out of them.
I think
man.
Anybody that watched Joe Burrow at LSU should not be surprised by them doing well. I mean, Joe Burrow is the real deal.
Yeah, they've actually built their offensive line very well, though.
Yeah, it only took them an offseason to do it, too.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
They have. And, dude, isn't it funny how that LSU season, like, now it has us looking back at it? Like, oh, yeah, of course Joe Brady was successful. He had Justin Jefferson and Joe Burrow and Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Jamar Chase and all this incredible talent around him on that LSU squad. I believe they won the best offensive line in college football too. So they were loaded with talent on that LSU football team.
Who was the actual OC of the team that year?
So it's I'd have to look it up. But Joe Brady was the passing game coordinator. And they had a guy that had been there for a lot of years. I'll look it up. And he had like duties with Joe Brady. But Dexter, you actually kind of stole my pick. It coincides with that. The Bengals are playing the Chargers.
Really?
Yeah, this Sunday at 1. And dude, that's in my opinion, that's two of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow in the same draft class too. Man, that's a fun matchup that I'm looking forward to.
Let me throw a question out. That's the Steelers. The Steelers have right now will not make the playoffs. I don't expect them to win a whole lot more after this. The last time they had a losing season was I just looked it up, was like 1999. Yeah, it was in 2003. They went 6-10. That's the last time they actually had a losing season. They had some 8-8 seasons, but the last time they were 6-10 in 2003.
Yeah.
So that's I work with several Steeler fans, and they're like all depressed and feeling low, and I'm kind of like loving it. I'm ready.
So what was your question?
I heard something.
Not really a question. I thought it was wild that they'll miss the playoffs. Do you think Big Ben actually retires this year?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Dude.
I think he's got to.
Yeah, I think he has to.
And I don't. They got 4 other quarterbacks on their roster, not counting him. I don't know that they'll even draft a quarterback.
Yeah, and
they might.
Hey, I'll say this though. I don't care what happens to them this season. Mike Tomlin is probably my favorite NFL head coach.
Yep.
If they finish this season with a losing season, I believe it'll be the only one that Mike Tomlin has ever had as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Dude, that is bananas, bro.
I absolutely love his response when they ask him about going to.
And dude,
He gets up and walks out.
it was a great response too. He's like, dude, I'm the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Why would I go somewhere else? It would just be a step down.
Right.
It was so dumb.
Did you see what they gave Lincoln Riley? I mean, honestly, it would have been a step up as well.
Oh, dude.
Like the pay package they gave him was bananas.
Yeah, dude. That was dude, and apparently he has like unlimited use to their private jet.
Yeah.
Dude, that guy was balling.
Not just him, the entire family does. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Dude,
if wife was shopping in Europe, he's like, hey.
Oh, yeah, dude, if I was him, I would take that bitch to In-N-Out. Pick up some burgers, dude. Like, roll to the drive-thru in my passenger jet, dude. Like,
no, dude, if you want French cuisine, we're just flying to Paris. Game.
Dude, yeah. Shout out to Lincoln Riley, man. Secured the bag. By the way, Steve Ensminger was the offensive coordinator for LSU.
What's he been up to?
Nothing. And dude, that's the thing. That Ensminger had a boring offense at LSU, and they brought in Joe Brady to kind of turn it into more of a pass-heavy offense.
So then, why don't we go out and get him? Like, let's bring him in and do the same thing that they did at LSU.
I think it wasn't. I don't necessarily know that it's a. It wasn't so much Joe Brady's play calling, so much as they had NFL starters at every phase of in every position practically. I mean,
gotcha.
That roster had Terrace Marshall Jr., Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, their tackles, I believe, ended up being our starting tackles right now in the NFL. I mean, that roster was loaded.
I believe it. And the thing is, like, I don't watch any college football. It's just, I don't, there's too many teams to follow. I don't know who I would follow, that sort of deal. So it's just one of those things to keep in mind. It's, my football knowledge is not nearly what your guys' is. And I have not watched nearly the amount of tape that you guys have watched. But I do have a question, Cody, if you don't mind.
Yeah, man. Yeah, go ahead.
What do you guys think? Do you guys think that we should be playing to win out the season and go to the playoffs? Or you think that we should be tanking for a better draft pick at this point?
So let me tell you what's going to happen, Nick. I haven't done my deep dive into like all the college players yet.
Yeah.
But what's going to happen is I'm going to, and I'm going to, sure enough, I'm going to find a player that I'll fall in love with. And I'll be like, oh, dude, I would love to have this dude on my team. And then I'm thinking about draft, selection, where we're picking to where that player might go in the draft. Yeah, I mean, I can't answer that yet. Listen, I think right now, if you're Matt Rule and, especially earlier this season, David Tepper was trading for Stephon Gilmore, for CJ Henderson. No matter what's happened up to this point, you have to play to win. Like my man Lonzo Hayes Jr. says, man, you're still playing to win, or else you're signaling to this fan base that you just have no fight in you at all. It would be different if it was a quarterback class, and I knew that there was, one or two studs in the draft that are going to be franchise changers. And there might be, but at this point, I can't say for certain that player exists in this draft. So Yeah, I think you have to try and win every single game going forward. You have to, I think.
You have nothing to tank for anyway.
Yeah.
Let me throw this news out. I did not know this. Cliff Kingsbury, Oklahoma's been trying to get him to come back. It's on Pro Football Talk Now. The article says that the Cardinals are working on an extension now because Kingsbury's contract runs out at the end of this year.
Oh shit!
And they're saying they don't want to lose him. And to Kingsbury's credit, though, he's not completely slammed the door shut on returning to Oklahoma, on going to Oklahoma.
Right. He's using that to drive the price up.
Yeah, and smart man he is too. With all the money passing around to these coaches, that'd be a bright thing for him to do.
Dude, have you seen his house?
Yeah, his house is bananas.
Dude, his house
in the draft.
Dude, his house is like an evil villain. like one of those drug czar kingpins. Like that dude has a crazy house, dude.
Yeah, you can definitely tell somebody's done lines off of his coffee table.
Yeah, more than one person too. More than one person. And then also, like, if you're Kingsbury, you have one of the more successful teams in the NFL. It's like, do you want? Like, I would want to be known as a successful NFL head coach
man,
more than a successful college head coach.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. And that's the reason why Mike Tomlin would never leave the Steelers willingly. He's in one of the top teams in the NFL. When you think of teams in the NFL and you aren't a huge fan like you and I, like all of us are, one of the major teams that you think of are the Steelers. You think of the Steelers, the Pats, the Cowboys, that sort of deal. You might think of the Seahawks if you've ever heard of them. But the Steelers are basically one of those teams that everybody knows, and everybody knows the Steelers a lot of times because of Big Ben nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, and they're a blue chip franchise, right? And the thing that drives me nuts about the entire Cliff Kingsbury and even the Zach Taylor discussion is people are using Cliff Kingsbury and Zach Taylor as reasons why you give Rule a third year because, okay, well, they managed to turn their teams around. But you saw progress, right? I mean, maybe not on the Cincinnati Bengals, but they clearly identified problems with their coaching staff and with their roster and made leaps and strides to address them in the offseason. I mean, it's not the same. Like people don't realize, we were losing. We lost 8 one-score games last year. We're getting blown out this year.
Yeah, by the Dolphins and the Washington football team.
By the Giants. The Giants.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Just disgusting.
Yeah, the only times that we looked lost last year was against the Bucs, who were the Super Bowl champs.
Well, and and that's the thing that people don't realize. I mean, there are signs of from the press conferences to the way people act on the sidelines. You can tell that he's starting to lose the locker room to a certain extent, right?
Yeah.
A coach can't survive losing the locker room. I mean, that's when you have people jumping ship. That's when you have people pricing themselves out of new contracts to go elsewhere. People start demanding trades. I mean, you really can't afford to lose that locker room.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, before we get out of here, let me go and hit all 5 of you. Is Matt Rule going to be our coach next year? Next.
I hate this question, man, because going into the season, I never thought that it would even be a real legitimate question.
Yeah.
And the whole reason was because last year was supposed to be the bad year, and even though it was a pretty bad year, we were competitive in just about every game. We've gotten our ass kicked on all sides of the football this year in numerous games. So when you start talking about losing a game on all sides numerous times, that falls back on the coaching. You can't blame an entire roster of players like that. It's just not how that works. So I think it's definitely possible for us to cut Matt Rule at the end of the season. I don't know if that's necessarily the right move.
Yeah.
But I could see a positive outcome from it.
Okay.
Long term.
Okay. Kenneth, what say you, man? Is Matt Rule going to be our coach next year?
if we lose a majority of the games coming up, yes. Or no, he won't be. I say that because there's an issue now with trust. Do you trust him to build your team? Do you trust him? I mean, or not me, just Tepper. Does Tepper trust him?
Yeah.
You know, there's a point that we still don't know. A lot of people said it was the organization wants you to think it was Matt Rule that brought Cam Newton back. It wasn't David Tepper. If David Tepper did that to bring Cam Newton back, then I'm honestly going to say that Matt Rule's not our head coach at the end of this year.
Yeah. Brad, I know the answer that you want to give. I know the answer that you hope is true. But what do you think will be true? Will Matt Rule be our head coach next year?
I think he probably will. I think that, Tepper was pretty adamant most of it in his introductory press conference. He was going to give him at least 3 years to figure this thing out. I would preface that with, I hope not. I truly hope not. I mean, there's enough indicators on here to tell everybody. If I can see that the team is poorly coached, then I hope David Tepper can too. But, David Tepper might be looking at this as, well, we're only a couple players away. We're only a quarterback away. I don't know that he is pinning the success or failures of his team entirely on the head coach at this point. I think he's looking at it, and I think that Rule is doing the right thing to try and save his job. He's putting people on IR. He's laying the breadcrumbs to shift responsibility off of himself when it comes time to answer for why this season went to shit. Right. So do I think that he should be the head coach next year? No. Do I think he's going to be? Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of where I am. I don't know. No, I do know that I don't want him here next year, but I feel like he's going to be anyway, which kind of just feels inevitable. South Carolina base, you still with us?
Yes, sir. I'm here, man. I was.
Yeah, you're good, man.
I think Matt Rule has run his course, but I think just because it took Matt Rule 3 years to turn around those other two programs, I think Tepper's going to give him at least a third year. Now, if we get embarrassed in all 5 games, and I mean obliterated, like destroyed, yeah, I could see a scenario where he's not coming back. But other than that, I think we can expect to see Matt Rule in year 3.
Yeah. We definitely need to see some signs of life if he's going to get another crack at this. And I want to give a shout out to Dexter, man, joining us from Manchester. Hey, what time is it over there?
2 a.m.
Yeah, you're a real fan, man. You're a real fan, dude.
I needed it. I told you I needed it.
Shout out to Dexter, man. Dude, happy you could join us, man.
No, great start to the weekend. Thanks for having me. It's been great.
Dude, I love it, man. I appreciate that, dude. It's cool to have fans in a different country, man. That's definitely cool. Let me ask you this. The same question to you. Do you think Matt Rule is going to be the head coach of the Carolina Panthers in 2022?
There's definitely a lot riding on these next few games. The issue is I think if a miracle happens and we win, even just go for a winning season, I think it's possible he stays. But I think that the fans have lost, respect for him. I think the players have lost respect for him. And above everything else, I don't think that he actually wants to be here now.
Yeah.
I think it was mentioned on Tuesday that he might say something to Tepper and just say, it's not for me. Yeah. I think that's really possible right now. But I don't want him to be. But then again, we'd look like total idiots if we got rid of him after 2 years. It makes us look really bad.
Yeah.
So it's a situation.
Go ahead. Yeah, I pretty much agree with you 100%, man. If they continue to come out and just look absolutely embarrassing, especially if we do it at home against the Falcons, a team that we've already beaten this year.
Yeah.
Like, man, that's such a bad look for this franchise, man. Yeah, I really don't know what we would do after in that situation. But
we could trade Matt Rule. His contract don't even. I just read this. His contract doesn't carry over. You can trade NFL coaches now. The contract's not like players. The contract doesn't carry over.
Well, I mean, but why do that? I mean, honestly, it's not. It's
I don't
probably,
know why. It's just idea. You know, Tepper wants
kidding?
to always be in the media. He could be in the media that way.
Yeah.
And the Giants will probably fire Judge anyway. They wanted him, so.
Yeah, they did originally want Matt Rule to be the head coach.
Yeah.
That's funny how things come around.
Is it true that Matt Rule took the offer that we gave him to the Jets and said, "Will you offer me this?"
No,
and
to the
Jets
Giants.
said no.
To the Giants.
To the Giants. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, to the Giants. Yeah, sorry, to the Giants.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
See,
so
that's just a red
up
flag
and said-
straight away for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have David Tepper, and apparently David Tepper was in his house at that point in time. And then he went into another room to either talk to his agent and tell them, okay, tell them we have this from Carolina. See if the Giants will match that offer.
But
well, and the thing that people don't
what
realize.
kind of balls does it take to do that? I mean,
Well,
David Tepper's in your house.
Yeah.
The thing that people don't realize, and that's lost on most people, it wasn't outbid the offer. It was, can you give me the same offer?
Yeah.
Just the same offer.
Oh, true.
How insulting is that? Like, if I were me, like the second, like I would have been pissed if I were David Tepper. I'd have been like,
because
out
that's
after 1
him.
year, man.
That's him
You don't want to be
saying.
here.
Yeah, that's him saying he values the Giants as a football franchise more than the Panthers.
That just pisses me off straight away. It's just
man. And I remember that leaving a bad taste in my mouth after I heard about it. But I'm like, dude, that's your head coach. Put it away. Give him a chance. And then fucking here we are, dude. Here we are, dude. Well, listen, man, that has been another edition of the Friday Free for All. I appreciate everyone in here joining me, man. I'm going to give everyone a chance to shout out anything that they want to, if they want to. Nick, my brother, has been here on every Friday Free for All. Nick Montiero, appreciate you once again, bro. What you want to tell the people before you go?
You can catch me on Instagram at Monty's Motorsports, or I've been playing a little bit more Xbox lately. I play a lot of Forza. So if you guys have Forza Horizon 5 or Forza Horizon 4, hop on there, add me. It's Jeep Guy Monty. So
I heard that new Forza might be one of the best racing games ever. Is that true?
Dude, it is it's pretty insane. So I played a lot of Forza Horizon 4, and that was a fun game to play, but it was very arcadey. This is still pretty arcadey, but the graphics are better, but it's even more fun, the things that they did to it. Like, I like what they did.
Cool, man. I'm gonna have to check that out. That it's something I've been wanting to check out for a while.
Dude,
Kenneth,
you should, man.
Yeah, man. Kenneth, my man, once again, another stalwart veteran of the Friday Free for All, man. Anything you want to shout out before we get out of here, man?
You can find me on Twitter at Panther Pickle, and don't be offended by anything I post on Twitter, because you might find about anything I post on Twitter I post. I might go from one topic to another real quick. If you get offended, let me know, and that way I know you're offended. I might not change my opinion, but I'll know you're offended.
If you follow me on Twitter, you might one day log on and see me fighting a war with 10 different people, dude. Twitter brings out the worst in people. No doubt about it. But I'm into it. I'm addicted. I can't get enough. At least I can. Yeah. Brad, my man, Matt Rule is number one here, but deservedly so. Brad, tell them where you can find you, man. There's just anything you want to shout out.
I'm at Baileel on Twitter. You can come check out my 9-point plan on how I would burn everything down and start it over for the Panthers franchise. You come at me, bro. And you can also find me on Steam at Baileel.
Nice, man. Appreciate it. South Carolina based. I appreciate you coming to hang out and having this conversation, man, being a part of it with us. Anything you want to plug or shout out before we get off of here?
Yeah, man. You know, I always enjoy the content, Cody, and everybody getting together. You can follow me on Twitter at JohnV23. And I just want to say to Panthers Nation, you know, it's all good. I mean, I love football, and I wish our team was playing better, but I'm still excited about the things I'm doing and just finding other hobbies besides the Panthers, and hopefully it'll be better next year. You know.
Yep.
That's right, man. And it's years like these. It's years like these that make the winning seasons feel so much better when they finally do happen, man. So hold out, Panther Nation. Like my man Robert Flores says, keep pounding. And then once again, joining us from Manchester, England, it's almost 2:30 at night across the pond. We have to let this man go to bed, but we appreciate him for joining us. Dexter, appreciate you, man. Tell him, is there anything you want to plug before we get off of here? The floor is yours, man. Whatever you have to say.
Nothing to plug. Just want to give a big shout out to everyone here in the chat and just the podcast in general. You know, it gives me a place to come and vent about the Panthers. I listen to the podcast every week. It's just gives me something. I can get involved with it, and it's, you know, you all make me feel really welcome. So just thanks very much.
Appreciate it, dude. You always have a home here on the Friday Free For All, man. Whenever you need to come and hang out, dude, C3 got your back, man. You already know.
Nice one, boys.
Yeah, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, that has been another edition of the C3 Friday Free For All. No videos this weekend unless Tony comes to me and we decide to pop something out randomly. But we'll be back Tuesday night at 9 p.m. for the C3 Panthers podcast. Until then, keep pounding.
Keep pounding, guys.